What's going on, guys? Super Savage 789 here, bringing you guys another video. And today we're doing what if Piccolo got orange form early. We have a lot to cover today, so without further ado, let's hop into today's video. In this timeline, after the events of the Cell games, Piccolo would realize that he needs to get stronger in order to protect Earth, as opposed to only training for the sake of it. At this point in time, Vegeta would still be in the mindset that he'd never fight again, and Gohan would begin slacking to do his studies, which would leave Piccolo as the only protector of Earth. So in order to protect the planet, he'd be seeking out alternative measures of strength. He'd ask Dende about unlocking his potential, which Dende would be able to do. This has a knock-on effect of making Shenron always grant 3 wishes, just like Porunga. Piccolo would gather the Dragon Balls and wishes for his potential to be unlocked. This would grant Piccolo a sizable boost already, but Shenron would also give Piccolo something extra. That wouldn't initially be apparent to Piccolo, leading to him doing some extra training to awaken it. It would take a little while to do so without a catalyst, but he'd eventually awaken this orange form. This would immediately make him above anyone on Earth several times over. Piccolo would be rather satisfied by this ability. To put it into perspective, Orange Piccolo from the movie was easily bodying blue level fighters, so placing him here would make him stupidly strong. Whenever Vegeta catches wind of Piccolo's hidden power, he'd probably be more motivated to train, which would garner him a better increase. So I imagine that he'd be slightly above Goku base to base. This would also mean that Trunks is stronger, since he'd be training with a stronger Vegeta. So when the Kids Division shows up, he'd be able to beat Goten even easier. The tournament would also end up going the same. Whilst Piccolo here can beat Shin, I doubt he'd want to, so he'd still end up forfeiting. They'll go to Bobity's ship, and the Namekian is caught off guard with Stone Spit, so he'd be unable to do anything during this portion of the arc. This means that Vegeta would still got margin, beating Goku slightly easier. Fat Boo still bodies Gohan and Shin, and then eats the Borer, which frees Piccolo and Krillin. Piccolo wouldn't get the chance to immediately act. Due to Vegeta's pride, he'd want to be the one to beat Boo, so he'd fight the Jin, but wouldn't be able to do anything substantial. Whilst Vegeta fights, Piccolo makes himself useful and cuts Bobity in half. Vegeta won't resort to blowing himself up here, as he knows Piccolo has something in store, so he'd merely give up, telling Piccolo to end this. The Namekian would remove his weight clothing and powers up to his ultimate form. He does a lot better than Vegeta does, but due to Piccolo being hella weak in the Boo saga, even this power up isn't enough to stop Boo. This would mean that Piccolo is forced to resort to his final form. He powers up into his orange state, sending shockwaves across the earth, as all the Z-Fighters sense his immense strength. Boo would become afraid as Piccolo bats him around, making it evident that he outmatches him. In a last-ditch effort, Boo tries to absorb Piccolo. Piccolo just vaporizes the parts that surround him. With a light grenade, Piccolo completely destroys Boo, saving the day. Goku would teleport over, telling Piccolo that he's jealous of his strength. He also chastises Vegeta for playing dirty. He would show off Super Saiyan 3 to both of them as a demonstration of his strength, showing to them that Piccolo is still stronger. It also annoys Vegeta that Goku is holding back. Everyone would be celebrating the victory, however they realize that Gohan isn't there. They try to revive him, but apparently he isn't dead. So using Shenron, they find out he's on the Kai's planet. Goku would head over there and sees him training with the Z-Sword. He informs him Piccolo already won, making Gohan glad. The Kais tell him that he can keep the Z-Sword since he pulled it out, which he's grateful for. Goku would head back to Otherworld and begins training even harder in the hopes of surpassing Piccolo. We'll say that he even ends up creating the Dragon Fist during this time, as a means to have something that surpasses him. Vegeta would also be training harder, but he'd simply be left behind in the pecking order. Even with Piccolo training regularly, he'd still be above Vegeta and Goku by quite a lot. Nothing substantial happens until Battle of Gods, so we'll just skip over to that. Beerus would fight Goku in the other world, and still beats him, heading to Earth. Boo isn't there to set him off, but he'd probably find an excuse to fight them. When Gohan attacks him with the Z-Sword, Beerus would break it, which releases Elder Kai. Due to the severity of the situation, no one would notice it, which would make the Kai annoyed. When Piccolo fights Beerus, he'd immediately go orange, which piques the cat's attention. Piccolo would manhandle Beerus while he's suppressed, leading to him raising his strength over time to gauge how strong Piccolo is. He remarks how Piccolo is the best fight he's ever had. If he's this strong, then the Super Saiyan God must be even stronger. I imagine they'd be pretty satisfied after this prolonged fight. So when it's revealed that they don't have enough people for the ritual, Beerus wouldn't be too fussed. He'd remark how he wants to see more Piccolo and leaves the planet with Whis. In the coming months, Vegeta would end up training with Whis. It's shown in the anime that Vegeta only unlocked Blue when training with Goku, so without him he'd be unable to. This means that he'd only unlock Super Saiyan God. Gohan would also get his potential unlocked shortly after Battle of Gods, thanks to being the one who released Elder Kai. When the Frieza Force comes to Earth, it's likely that both Frieza and King Cold would be revived, since the Dragon Balls have been upgraded, so they'd be able to revive them both. They'd train together, getting golden much quicker. They'd also come to Earth a bit quicker. Due to them coming to Earth quicker, Gohan wouldn't have lost his ultimate form yet, so we'd have a stronger Gohan and Piccolo heading to the fight. All the Frieza soldiers would be destroyed in quick succession, leading to the Z-Fighters stepping up to Frieza. Piccolo and Gohan fight together in their ultimate forms, forcing Frieza into his final form to fight them. With this, he easily toys to them, beating them down and incapacitating Gohan. So Piccolo is forced into his orange state. Frieza would remark that he too can change his color, and begins powering up. However, Piccolo isn't a Saiyan. He isn't going to let his opponent power up, especially after the last time he let Frieza go to his next form. So he unleashes a Makon Kosapo that kills Frieza. King Cold would applaud Piccolo's strength and offers him a job. Piccolo tells Cold to leave and never return, which Cold agrees to. This is a ploy, however, as he uses the opportunity to go golden. He attacks Piccolo, but even then, Piccolo is just so much stronger than Cold that it only takes a few hits to beat him. It might seem like I've just made Piccolo immensely strong for no reason, but again, in the movie, Piccolo was one-shotting blue level fighters when his base form was ass, so it'd be the same thing here. After this, I could see Gohan begin to train again to try and find his balance. For one, right now the only protector of Earth is Piccolo. And while Piccolo has been enough to handle every threat, the day may come when he won't be. And for the other, the only other person training is Vegeta, who's off on far off planet. If Piccolo weren't here, they all would have died to Frieza and his father. Like canon, the Universe 6 tournament would arrive, and the team would need to be formed. Gohan would still have his conference, so he'd be unable to come. And with Vegeta already being motivated to surpass Piccolo, there's no need for Monaka to join the team. Piccolo also killed Buu, so he's out. So the team would be Tenshinhan, Krillin, and 18, after Vegeta promises to pay them. Vegeta would probably achieve Blue during this time as well. We can skip over the tournament though, as unsurprisingly Piccolo would be enough to beat Hit. Because of this, Zamasu takes Piccolo's body, which would mean we'd actually get a compelling threat in Piccolo Black. So Future Trunks would still flee to the past, where he explains the threat of Black. And the people going to the future with Trunks would be Vegeta, Gohan, and Piccolo, though it'd definitely be a tight squeeze in the time machine. They'd locate Black, with Vegeta immediately fighting him. Black would be using Ultimate against Vegeta, making them on a pretty equal playing field. But Black's strength would only be rising, slowly placing Vegeta in a worse position. He'd refuse help as he's beaten down and almost killed. Piccolo would have to step in, using his orange form where he beats up his doppelganger easily, landing a Makon Kosapo that almost kills him. Zamasu would reveal himself though, healing up his accomplice. With so much battle experience, Black would be able to ascend into Rose Piccolo. With that, combined with Zamasu helping out, the Z-Fighters are forced to flee. In the sewers, Piccolo talks about the Mothaba and says that he can return to the past to grab a talisman. Vegeta also says that he just needs some extra training. So those two return to the past while Gohan and Trunks stay in the future. Swallowing his pride, Vegeta asks Piccolo to train with him in the time chamber. His son is in danger and he needs to get stronger. Piccolo would agree, and the duo begin training together. Through training with Piccolo, Vegeta gets much stronger. And combined with Piccolo's tactical mind, I think Vegeta would be able to learn Mastered Blue. Like in canon, they return and the Mothaba is a failure, thanks to the talisman being a coupon, courtesy of Roshi. This leads to Zamasu and Black using the Potara as a fuse, being even stronger than the canonical fuse Zamasu. Vegeta would get a pep talk from Trunks and decides to fuse with Gohan, creating Vegihan. This fusion would be both weaker and cockier than Vegito, meaning that against a stronger Zamasu, they do a lot worse before diffusion. Even with Trunks being able to heal, Piccolo, Gohan, and Vegeta are all beaten down and essentially tortured by Zamasu. He'd remark that even though he has a time limit, he'll kill them all before it's up, starting with Trunks. He grabs him and holds him up for the others to see. Trunks tries to fight back, but is futile, as Zamasu kills him. Seeing this causes both Gohan and Vegeta to snap. Their power begins to rise exponentially as a new life is breathed into them. Both of them would surpass their limits, ascending into Blue Evolution and Beast. With these power-ups, they're able to fight Zamasu and beat him up long enough for him to defuse and multiply. They won't have a Zamasu button unfortunately, but I doubt they'd stay to fight. The only human alive right now is Mai, so they'd simply get in the time machine and flee with her. Zeno would likely erase the universe anyway, so that's not going to be an issue. Mai would then take the time machine and go back in time to live in an alternate timeline. After this, I imagine that a tournament of power would still happen. While Goku is dead, Zeno did see the Universe 6 tournament, so he'd want to do another one like that. Universe 7's team would be pretty similar, except King Cold replaces Frieza. Goku would also be granted 24 hours to participate. The start of the tournament is pretty similar, with Cold allying with Frost only to betray him. Goku would be fighting Pride Troopers, having to use Super Saiyan 3 Kaioken just to keep up with them. It's clear to him that he's outmatched by a lot of fighters, so he wouldn't go after the big leagues as much. Instead, he'd go over to Gohan and Piccolo to fight alongside them. This means that Hit just gets beaten up by Jiren alone. When Damon attacks the Z fighters, Goku would be the one who is knocked out instead of Piccolo. 17 would then locate the bug and eliminate him. King Cole will be fighting the Universe 6 Saiyans, leading to KO rampaging. That will go the same with Kaba sacrificing himself so they can become Kefla. Gohan then fights Kefla using his beast form. Thanks to his power up, he'd be above Kefla's strength significantly, meaning that he'd be able to eliminate her. Piccolo and Gohan then both begin fighting Jiren, using their full power. This would be able to match Jiren and put him on the back foot. Vegeta, Cold, 17 and Roshi would all also be able to assist, thanks to not being wrung out yet. Thanks to all these people fighting together, Jiren would be unable to fight back. While he might ring out one or two of them, he isn't beating all of them. So he is removed from the ring, giving Universe 7 the win. Everyone is then revived from other universes. King Cold is also revived thanks to Whis. Goku's offered, but he turns it down, opting to return to Otherworld. The Broly movie would arrive, where Vegeta has to fight Broly alone. Cold would kill Paragus to set Broly off, which would succeed. Without Goku there, Vegeta would have to fight with Broly without the promise of fusion, so Piccolo would need to show up to help out. Fighting together, I imagine they'd be able to do some damage on Broly before he goes fully berserk. When he does though, all bets are off. So Piccolo has Chila and Lemma to teleport Broly away using Shenron, which they would. When the Moro arc arrives, Maris wouldn't come to Earth since Boo is dead. This means that Moro won't have any trouble getting his wishes. When this happens, Jocko would realize that the only people who can help are on Earth, and so he heads there to ask them for help. Piccolo, Gohan and Vegeta would all head into space, where they locate Moro's main ship. Moro's henchmen would try to stop him, but they were able to defeat them. And together they'd all be able to defeat Moro before he can absorb 7-3. This Beast Gohan would scale above MUI. And then Gohan would help the Galactic Patrol locate the rest of the prisoners. It might seem like the Moro arc was quite quick, but as I've been saying throughout the rest of the video, these guys are just insanely strong. At the time of scripting this, the Granola arc isn't done, so it's too early to tell what would happen. And in the superhero movie, it essentially go the same, except Piccolo and Gohan have their ultimate forms much earlier, making the movie a lot easier to get through. But guys, that's where we're going to leave it here. Make sure you like and subscribe, and comment down below any future requests for videos. I made this video to show off how overpowered Orange Piccolo is, despite the fact that I really hate this transformation. I think it's ugly, and I don't think it fits Piccolo at all. I think Piccolo's transformation should be a lot more subtle, and not make him a hulking brute, which is the opposite of what he is. But yeah, comment down below your thoughts on the form. And bye!